It's great to be here in Wrocław, the city where I went to college, the city where I got my first programming job. By the way, is there somebody from SMT Software here? Yay, nice crowd, nice crowd. So actually, when I was working in SMT Software, we ran into differences with my team leader. And this difference was the faith in Polish national team. Because it was Euro 2012, and Poland just got eliminated from the Euro after the last game in a group stage, actually at this very stadium here in Wrocław. And my team lead said that he doesn't believe that Polish national team will ever perform good. And I didn't accept that, and I left. And I left Wrocław. I lost my hope in Wrocław. I was like, I will even leave Europe. So I went to United States. And guess what has happened? Euro 2016, right? And now Polish national team is performing quite good, right? So, please have the faith. Have the faith. And World Cup 2018, we're gonna do good, right? Like semi-final? Yeah? Final? Okay, yeah? Yeah, it'll be all great. Cool, so I work for Microsoft. I used to work on the Azure Management Portal, which is one of the largest single-page applications in the world. I think there's around 500 developers who used to work on that. And during me building the Azure Management Portal, after we finally released it, I started overnight project, the mobile app for Azure, which I would like to show you today, because after a few months of taking it from hackathon and overnight prototyping, we managed to become the official Microsoft product, and we announced it last year at Build conference, and now the Azure mobile app is available on App Store and on Google Play, so you can go and download it. And if you guys are not familiar with Azure app, I can show you this really quick if I won't run in any technical difficulties, but I hope I won't. So let's see. I got the reflector, so I should be able to mirror my Mac. So this is my phone, and this is the Azure app. So you can see all your Azure resources here. And by the way, app is written in Xamarin, of course. That's the reason why I'm showing this very app here. You can pin your resources to favorites. You can go to favorites. You can see it here. You can even pin your charts, so you can have very sneak peek to your services. You can see what's going on. You also can see your different notifications. So if you set an alert, you can have it here. And also we have push notifications. So if you enable it, you'll get push notification if your CPU is high. Oops, that wasn't planned. Gosh, I'm breathing loud. Damn it. Stop it. How do I stop it? Airplane mode? Will that do it? Yes. But now I probably lost the connection with... Yeah, probably not. You guys can still see it? Yeah, awesome. I'm breathing loud. Sorry for that. Am I breathing loud? Okay, right. Thank you. So, but the coolest thing of the app, and my favorite, is the Cloud Shell. So if there is anything you cannot do in the app, you can go to Cloud Shell, and if I still have the internet, there we go. Let's go. There we go. We are in the Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell is actually available on the Azure portal, and we also put it in the Azure mobile app. And here you have full access to your entire Azure. But the coolest thing is, let me exit for a little bit. So here I have this virtual machine, AAA VM. The name AAA comes from I want to see it first. And here, I can grab my IP address. So I'll copy this IP address. And then, when I'll go to Cloud Shell, let me spin up the Docker container one more time. And now you can SSH to your VM, paste. All right. Yes, please. And now everybody gonna see my password, but that's okay. I will delete it after the talk anyway. And, oops, wrong password. Well, maybe somebody already changed it. Let's see. Yeah, it's this one. There you go. So now I am in my VM, and for the sake of demo, I think it's here. So it's Bitnami VM, standard VM here running on Azure, nothing serious. But what I can do here, I can go to my Apache files where I will have my index.html. So cd apache 2, I think it's somewhere there, htdocs. There we go. And Roy was talking about Vim, and it's very cool, but you can actually use Vim here. Oops, not owned, but index. Whoa. Space. No, Vim, space. The latency is becoming an issue here. Okay, there we go. So I am in Vim now, but as you know, Vim is challenging to exit. And it's a little bit challenging on the mobile app because there's no escape key, right? So if I enter my insert mode, how do I get back? So I figured there is a workaround. So using IMAP, I can map cool guy emoji to the escape key. So now I can go to insert mode and I can say, hello, WROC, whoops, WROC and sharp, and now I click cool guy emoji, and now I save this file, now lowercase x, and now I will refresh it, and there we go. So I just added my production VM from the mobile app from the Cloud Shell. How cool is that? How cool is that? So let me just stop this. I don't know if I can hide this guy. Boom, there we go. So before we dive into building this app, because what I want to do today is I want to share with you how we build this app, all the mistakes we did, all the lessons we learned, and I hope you'll be able to avoid it building your apps. So just a brief reminder what Xamarin is. You have two approaches in building apps with Xamarin. The first one, traditional one, is to building the native apps, which basically means that you're using iOS and Android and Windows native APIs. So you have to build UI 3 times. But then you can share your backend. Another approach is that you have this layer that is kind of like generating your UI for you. You have just XAML language, and the XAML is being compiled to the native platform. Advantage of this approach is just one UI. And also, there are a few code sharing strategies. The first one, and I think the mostly used one, is shared project. So shared project, what it basically does, it's pretending to be separate project. But what is really happening when you have iOS and Android app, you add this shared project, and when you press compile, it basically copies your file to your iOS and Android and compiles the entire app with these files. A cool thing about shared project is that you can use if pragmas. So let me maybe open our solution. Hope you guys can see it. And the trick I learned recently, if you hold Control while opening new solution, it lets you actually have few solutions open at the same time in the VS format. Can you guys see it, or is it a little bit small? Hope you can see it. So here I have my shared project, and for example, let's see SVG helpers. And here I have this if pragmas. So for example, I have some functions that are pretty much the same for both platforms. Like for example, this function is the same both for iOS and Android. Only the name of the name of the class, which is the first parameter of the object, is different between platforms. So you use this pragma, and you can use UI code in your shared project. Second approach for sharing code is portable class library. So the difference between portable class library and shared project is that this is a really truly a separate project and it's compiled into separate assembly, you cannot have UI code there because, again, this is just compiled as a separate class library, or and then it's referenced by your iOS or Android or Windows app. And portable class library has one nice characteristic. You can pretty nicely unit test it, so you can have unit tests against your business logic. And this one is very good for doing HTTP requests, doing some common C# logic across your apps. And there's also a third way, which is .NET Standard library. .NET Standard is basically like a unification of versions of .NET, because in PCL you have these profiles, and like you never know which profile to use. I still don't know. So this is our PCL, and if I go to options here, oh, okay, there you go. So it's .NET Portable and it's PCL 4.5 profile 7. I have no idea why you use 7, not 240, for example, but I guess there's a reason, because this profile is calculated based on these checkboxes. But in .NET Standard, this is much nicer, because you just have 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 2.0, 2.1. So it's have a little bit more sense than that. And that's the biggest difference as I'm concerned. So when you have this shared project strategy chosen, actually you can choose a few of them, because you can mix both the PCL, like we do. We have our PCL here and we have our shared project here. They work side by side together. They're just been using for different purposes. And very important thing, which we didn't always do, is when you start a mobile app with Xamarin, always have view model per every view. Because sometimes you might think like, oh, but there's only like one line of code in this view. There's, I can just copy paste this line of code to Android. Why not, right? But what's going to happen next is that somebody will add the second line of code, right? But then you're still like, oh, okay, it's 2 lines of code, so I'll just add it twice. What's the big deal, right? And then 3, and then your lines of code will have some UI dependencies, because you will be like, okay, it's here, I can use my entire UI. And then it will grow to have like 10 lines of code, and you just copy paste, it's okay, whatever, right? And then moving this to view model is much harder, because then you need to get rid of your UI dependencies, or you have to manage them a little bit differently. So start with view model from the beginning. And as a proof why you do it is because then you can have nice shared code percentage. So currently in Azure App, our shared code in iOS and Android is above 80%. And half a year ago, right after releasing, we're at 60 and 65. So now we refactored a lot of code in order to move the code to shared, and now we have only really the UI which is not shared. And believe me, this really makes a difference, because many times you can run into errors, and then having stuff in the view model actually is another benefit, because you can easily unit test it. And something like displaying a count of items on your view, it's nice to have unit test for that, because waiting for UI test to perform and do this check is much more expensive. So that was about writing code. But then when you have your code structured, you have view models, everything is perfect, you need to put some continuous integration, continuous delivery system, right? Who doesn't have continuous integration system at their projects? Wow, everybody does. Awesome. Well, great. So if you're building mobile apps with Xamarin, again, you're very lucky, because you have VSTS, which has pretty neat support for that. It was actually very easy to create this build pipelines. So here I have, for example, our iOS build definition. It's alpha environment. So we have like 3 environments: alpha, beta, and store one. And it's pretty cool how, there's a lot of stuff disabled, because we are changing stuff, storing your secrets, retrieving user passwords, stuff like that. But what is cool about this, that every step is nicely isolated. You don't depend on the shell scripts. We depend on some of them, but we can identify where the build is broken, right? So even if you have this one guy who knows how to do the build, right, you don't really need to put camera on him to figure out how the build is running. You can just go here and you can really read it as it is. And there is not much stuff that require PhD to figure out here. So this is pretty neat. Another cool thing, that was that. Another cool thing is the Xamarin Test Cloud. So UI testing is always challenging, both for web and even a little bit more for the mobile apps. And Xamarin Test Cloud allows you not only to run your UI tests, but you can also run them on hundreds of different devices. So they have this data center in Copenhagen. When it like literally, I don't know how many of you are watching Silicon Valley. You remember this episode when there was the lady in front of 100 iPhones and she was like rating apps like 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, and that's how you buy. So imagine like Xamarin Test Cloud is something like that, but every device is a little bit different. It's configured a little bit differently. It has iOS 11.2, iOS 11.1 on iPhone 7, and now iOS 10.8 on iPhone 6s. Almost whatever combination you want, it's there. So if some user is telling you, hey, on my iPhone, this one with this version, I have this bug, can you look at this, right? You add this to your test runs, and you make sure that your app is always running fine there. And also, one thing we learned during doing the UI testing is, at the beginning, of course, we were learning how to do this UI testing for mobile. So what we went to Xamarin site and said Xamarin UI testing, and just following the examples. I think maybe this one, it will have some tests. Let's see, test, no, maybe introduction. Okay, there was some test here. Let's see. Okay, there is simple UI test, right? And let me maybe open VS Code so you guys can see it a little bit better. Paste it here, and I will say this is actually C# and make it bigger. So, this is okay to get started, to learn how to set text to your fields, how to take the screenshots, so on. But the problem with this test, this is a very simple test, right? Your UI test will be much more complicated. You will have 20 or 30 lines of code. And then what happened is like, I have no idea what this test is doing. Somebody wrote it, it's not me, that's the other guy. And then again, this is the buzz factor, right? You cannot fire this guy. But what you can do, you can use the thing that it's called page object pattern, which basically means that you encapsulate your every view into class which represents this page. Okay, so for example, this is some credit card number too long, so I will say my credit card validator. And this credit card validator will have, let's see. So first, what I'm doing is I am just setting the credit card number, right? And I need to know this. I need to know what that means. And if I am not a Xamarin UI test expert, I have no idea what means marked, right? But if Xamarin expert will create me a method called public void set credit card number, and with parameter string, which is called number, which is like very intuitive, but let's do with that. And I'll move this here, and I'll extract that one. And here I will, in my test, I'll just say var CCV equals new credit card validator. So to new this up, and I say CCV, set credit card number, and there we go. And then I took this as well, and I also put it here, right? Because I don't really need to perform this step twice, right? So now I see, okay, what is happening here? I'm setting the credit card validator number. Remove all of this, we don't need that, right? Next thing that is happening is, okay, I'm tapping the validate button. Okay, so, and again, I'm taking a screenshot with validation results. Okay, but however, here probably, and you also learn it hard when doing UI testing, you want to say wait for, and somehow you have to like await until the validation result actually will be present. So I'll add this lambda for you. I'm not sure if that will be it. Validation result. Let's say length is greater than 0. And then you take the screenshot, okay? When you're sure that it's there. But I should move all of these lines and again put it in some method, public void validate, okay? And I have all of this here, tapping the button, checking for the results, and taking the screenshot. Or actually, okay, that was wrong. This is part of this stuff. So this is taking a screenshot before actually seeing the results. Okay, so there is something weird with this already, but that's fine. So this is how I do the result. And this again, so I need to put this wait for actually around that. So I need to wait for my results here. Okay, that's fine. And I didn't want to do that. I just want to do this. There we go. So validation results, and actually I should move it here, and then I can do assert, and that's fine. And you know what? This requires a little bit of refactoring, but again, I can just call it. So I have validate, and then I say assert result, and I create new method, void assert result, and here I have this code that is not very neat to read, and here it is just, I'm just checking that there is some result, but that's fine. But now when you look at this code, and even if you don't know how to test with Xamarin, you can tell, okay, so this code is setting card number, is validating, and it's checking that the result is there, right? And if you start writing your code for all your UI tests like that, it's actually becoming manageable. And then you start noticing that if you're writing the same code on the same very page, it's actually easier. And then you don't need, at some point, you don't even need to know how the framework works. You don't care. You just care about what actions it's taking, right? Which every developer is able to figure. So that was another cool thing. And then when we have our app built, code is shared, tests are passing, because of course we always keep our tests green. And I need to tell you that it's a little bit tax on that to make sure that always the tests are passing, and especially you might run in issues with the test cloud, such as at the very beginning we have this idea that let's run our UI test on every possible device after every check-in, right? Why not? But then we notice that it takes a little bit of time, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 6 hours, because guess what? There are other people who are using cloud as well, and this queue time might be higher. So then we just decide, okay, we're gonna run on one device, and maybe overnight or maybe over a weekend we'll run on like 40 different iPhones and 40 different Android phones, and this helped us a lot. But then also like number of our tests started growing, and I think at the number of 70. Even running on one device takes some time, because you need to install the app on device, and every app has to be restarted, because make sure that one scenario doesn't intercept with the other. And our runtimes were over an hour, almost 2 hours, if everything went right, because even on the test cloud you can run into some internet connection issues. So then what we figured, what we should really have is have like a smoke tests on every check-in, and have this like suite of like every possible like bug that you fixed, and you write code for that is like very, very specific, and maybe run it overnight. So then you can actually be able to develop faster. So then after all of this is working, you also want to make sure that we catch the crashes of our users, and we use Hockey App for that. And we also use Hockey App for deploying our app internally. So every developer can see it, and also like internal Microsoft employees can see it. And actually everybody can use Hockey app to develop your beta or alpha version of the app, and then you can validate that your beta is actually working before you publish to store. Because if you publish to store and the app will be crashing on second screen for 90% of users, you kind of screwed, because then you have to wait 1 or 2 days if Apple will be like good for you to approve your next version, because usually it takes 1 to 2 days to get new version approval. That's a bad thing. Nice thing is like our on-call is not that bad, because if somebody called during the night saying, hey, the app has a bug, you need to fix it, and you're like, I cannot fix it overnight. It will take me 1 or 2 days anyway, so I can just do it over the day. So that's a good thing, but the bad thing is, again, this wait time, right? So with Hockey app, we are able to kind of like crowd test it before releasing this to entire world. And Hockey app is also nice for your logs. Not many people are realizing that, but what you can do with Hockey app, you can stream your logs as a custom events, and then you can export it to App Insights, and then you can create a Power BI dashboard from it, which is pretty cool because you can always browse your log, and I'm sure like everybody of you is doing that, right? First thing you come to work, you check your logs, whether you have some errors, right? I know, but because all of you are good developers, right? But there are some bad developers like me. When I come to work, I don't check my logs every morning. But if I have the dashboard like that, then it's much nicer. I can, for example, see how many errors I have per version, what is really going on with my app in more visual way and in such a way that can inform me right away without issuing a bunch of queries. So this is very, very cool, and it's working very neatly. So another great thing that I really, really like about Xamarin is the community. So community is great, and we're actually using a few open source libraries in the Azure app. So Xamarin settings plugin is abstracting how you use the native settings for iOS, Android, and Windows. And it's actually abstracting this so we can use common APIs from your portable class library or from your shared project. It's very, very nice. And there's also FF image loading library, which allows you to convert images into the native. So, for example, we are storing all our images in SVG, and this library allows us on the runtime compile them into the native images. And a fun fact, the guy who created FF image, he's actually from Poland. I believe he's living in Zakopane. And we are great time to talking together and fixing some regressions he had, and we are validating this library for him. And it's actually, I think, one of the most popular image libraries now for Xamarin. There's also great Oxyplot library, which we have our charts written in. And again, what is cool, you just write your charts once, and moving this to Android is almost like no op. You need to add some code saying like, hey, display this chart in Android as well. You don't have to build it twice. If you have iOS and Android native apps, you have to build your charts at least twice, right? And if you add Windows to it, it's third time. And charting is pretty expensive and not fun thing to do. So it's very nice to have this abstraction. And also, if you're a Xamarin developer, I really recommend you the Xamarin chat. So every issue you have, you can just go there, and they will help you. And that's how we are building the Azure app. We are just going there, saying, hey, we're trying this thing. How are you guys doing it? We are doing it this way. Do it that way. And I think that even there, I found out about the FF image loading on this channel. And there's also an awesome podcast, Merge Conflict, but by James Montemagno, and he also have the Xamarin show, which you can find on Channel 9. So if you want to boot up your Xamarin knowledge, just go to these sites, and it's really, really fun, and I really, really recommend it. Not sure what my next slide. Oh yeah, workbooks and live players. So there are some things that make you a little bit more productive using Xamarin than not using it. So Xamarin workbooks allows you to prototype your UI without actually compiling entire app and deploying it to simulator or to your device. And then next generation of Xamarin workbooks is actually called Xamarin Live Player. What Xamarin Live Player allows you to do, it shows your code changes in the real time on your device. And I think this is how it looks. So this is Xamarin Forms app. So this is some XAML. I'm editing XAML, and here I have like mirrored device, and I'm doing editing. So let me show you this in action. So if I do mirroring one more time, my reflector is here, so I'll try to connect to it. Hope nobody will text me again. Okay, what's my code? Really? Come on. Oh, there we go. 3065. Okay. I need to open my Xamarin Live Player. And here I have this small test project called Color Control. And I will pair my device just like that, QR code for the win. Okay, I'm paired. So now I should be able to run this on my phone. You'll be able to see it, and there we go. Oops. So I'll put this on the side, and now I will say live run current view. So if everything went all right, now I should be able to open this file and say, for example, take photo. And maybe it didn't well. Oh, it lost the connection. Okay, one more time. Okay, there we go. Take photo, take photo. There we go. And notice that I didn't even save my file, and it's reflecting these changes, right? And you can build like entire features like that. So I can say var label, new UI, label, new CG, rect, say 0, and here I have this, my screen height minus 100, and my width will be my width, and my height would be 100, and I will say label text equals WROC sharp, and it should appear somewhere. Oh, I need to add it to my view. So I say label. There we go. And now let's say align, text alignment equals center. Oh no, what has happened here? There we go. WROC sharp, and maybe I can say font, UI font, system font of size, what would be good, size 50 maybe. Font of size 50. And there we go, much better. And then maybe I can say background color equals UI color red, because why not? This is how it looks. Okay, sweet. I can say text color, I can say UI white, UI color dot white. And there you go, and sweet. So, I can prototype my UI like that, just like in a second. Like imagine if you have to compile your app or deploy to your device or even to your simulator, it basically speeds you up like by factor of 10. So it's pretty sweet. And if you're a Xamarin developer, I really encourage you to check that out. So let me get back to my presentation. So I was talking about Xamarin, but also about the Azure app. And it's hard to predict the future, but as my observation of Xamarin developer, because I don't work for Xamarin team at Microsoft, is that it's getting better in every month. It won't get better in like no time. You have to give it a time for constant improvement. But I think now Xamarin is really at the point when you really can run production apps. And there's actually a lot of companies who rely on Xamarin, and they are successful. And we built our Azure app also with Xamarin. And also, like, if you have any suggestions that there's something you would like to have in Azure app, you can go to this link, aka.ms/Azure Mobile Feedback, and over there we have all our ideas that we are executing. Open source the app, push notifications is actually pretty much done. And if you see, if you go to status and completed, 47 of ideas from the community is actually already done. Multiple account access is like pretty sweet. You can sign with different Azure accounts, and you can just switch with them without even entering the password. There's Touch ID support, so on and so forth. So if you have an idea, go to this website, and I'm sure somebody will take a look at that and get back to you. So, and as you know, I was mentioning about this small improvement. There's this British Olympics team. I think they won almost all possible gold medals in Olympics in 2012. And then everybody was curious, like, what was their secret? What were they doing differently? And it turns out that they did these like very, very small improvements. Like for example, they consult doctors how to wash their hands so they can get sick 5% less than their competitors, or that they can, if they carry the pillow when they travel and they sleep on their pillow, they can sleep better. And this together with that, and also I think another interesting thing was that if they carry their bike to the start line without just riding it, they can save 0.001 second per lap, right? So all of these small improvements, all put together, gave them gold. And I believe the same thing is happening both with Xamarin and with Azure App, that you're doing this small improvement, just be patient, and we are getting better and better at every time. So when I was doing the Azure App, in the meantime, my attention was taken by another very interesting app, which is actually using machine learning. And I love machine learning. I think that's the future, but it's a little bit annoying when people just use machine learning for detecting, cats and dogs. It's cool, sure, it's cat or dog, fun, but it's even cooler if people are using it for things that are actually useful. So let me just show you a video of this app and enjoy.
I'm Jakub Jedryszek. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that I went to a school for the blind. And that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives. And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Pivot Head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces, 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised, 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do. But artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate. And I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
So Seeing AI was announced at Build conference, I think 2016, and the first mobile app is available now on App Store, and is actually also written in Xamarin. And this project was so cool that I reached out to the team. I say, hey, can I work with you? And for last few months, Seeing AI is my 10% project, which I work on my spare time, or you can call it when your boss is not in the office. But so far, none of my managers at Microsoft minded that. And actually, let me show you the app if you haven't seen that. So I will again mirror my device. So that's my device. And this is the app, right? So for example, I can take a photo of you guys.
Processing.
And if I have internet, it will
Probably a group of people standing in front of a crowd.
All right, there you go. And can I have one volunteer here? One volunteer. Nothing bad will happen to you, I promise. Okay, there you go. Okay, we have a volunteer. Yeah, please jump. So I can look at a person.
One face near center 2 feet away.
So cool, right? And even cooler thing is, wait for it, there's a mode called face recognition.
Recognize new person. One
this is
face
me,
near
but-
center 1 foot away.
No.
One face
Click it
near
off.
top
Okay.
edge 3
So
feet away.
I
One
just-
face near center 2 feet away.
Okay, all right. I just take 3 photos of him. What's your name? Philip. Oops. There you go. So now, when I am in
0
the person mode,
faces. Philip near center 3 feet away.
even if he's moving, right? Can you move?
0 face. Philip near left edge 5 feet away. 0 faces.
All right, that's another
One
face.
face
Yeah,
near
but thank you
0
very much.
faces. Short text.
And even recently, we added this mode to recognize
Currency preview.
currency, right? This is so cool. So let me pull up some US dollars. So for example, you can take $1.
$1 US.
So cool, right? If I take more than that, let's see. I have $5 as well. It's not to give it away, but
$5 US.
and all of this is like for us it's fun, right? But for blind people, this is extremely useful, and it helps them in everyday's life. So if some of you are working on some machine learning projects, try to use it for some useful stuff. And actually, this was kind of also inspiration for me to, after the Azure app got released, after we got entire team backing up this product, 2 months ago, I switched into the Cloud and AI group, and we are building Azure Search and Cognitive Services platforms, which is machine learning APIs that allows you to take your data, not only textual, but also images, but also videos, use Microsoft machine learning APIs on this data and get some interesting information from it. And this is actually my new office with Henrik Nielsen, the creator of HTTP protocol. He's an awesome guy. It's really cool working with him. And he's actually now working on putting this platform as well together with me. I'm just working on the web UIs for it. So again, if you're using our UIs, tell me what can we improve. And if you want to learn more about this stuff, there's one YouTube link, which it's very easy to remember, _P-ARZFXY0L. So if you want to check it out, go there. We have some cool stuff done by our team, like, for example, the How Old Dotnet, this app that recognizes your age, is actually done by a guy from our team. And the same guy actually recently took all JFK files, and he ran cognitive services on that recognize text, do like different like highlightings, and allow you to correlate different documents from JFK files and correlations between people. It's very cool, and it's on this video. So closing, I just want to mention that I will be actually talking about all this stuff that we are doing in Cloud and AI Group at the QCon conference in Sao Paulo and Beijing. So if any of you will be around, I really recommend QCon as well. If not, watch for the videos. It will be there. It will be available to you. So and the last thing I want to say.
Xamarin is sick. It's crazy the kind of stuff you can do with this product.
Thank you very much.